Hello everybody, I am Shepples and welcome to Shepples Reviews Aqua Kitty Milk Mine Defender. Aqua Kitty is an arcade-style shoot-'em-up made by developers Dugan Jackson and Gabor Dovka. It starts off where the world's natural supply of milk has run dry and therefore cats went in search of another source. Deep under the sea they found sources of naturally forming full-fat milk, and so the hazardous extraction began for all cat kind. Your job is to defend these extractions of milk sources from onslaughts of enemies who attempt to hinder the cat's attempt in extracting these milk sources. Using your underwater fighter craft, you must destroy each wave of enemies whilst defending the miners from being abducted. The gameplay, however, changes in accordance to what mode you are in, with a total of 3 different modes which consist of easy, normal and arcade. Easy mode is just simply an easier difficulty where you have more lives at the start of each level and enemies are slightly easier to kill than in normal mode. Normal mode is more difficult with less lives at the start of each level and enemies are slightly more difficult than in easy mode. Both modes consist of simply completing each level and you gain upgrades after each main section of the map is complete. Throughout each level you will find power-ups that can be used to help you in defending the miners. It can be extremely here's the key. Extra guns and health to have additional fire support from the kitty friends. Each level also has a high score for the player to beat should they wish to attempt to achieve this, giving the game some replayability value, as you can replay any level you have already completed. Arcade mode is a whole different beast altogether. Arcade mode works in a form of permadeath, where once you are dead and you will have to start over. Unlike in easy or normal, your health or lives, whichever you please to call them, stays the same level to level, and the only way to replenish your lives is through power-ups. You gain power-ups by collecting green gems through each level, with each level generally having 2 to begin with and later levels more to collect. However, it is not that simple. Every upgrade to your ship requires a certain number of gems. With 5 upgrades in total, in order to regain a life you require 4 gems, which is pretty much 1 to 2 levels worth of gems. This is not easy considering every hit you take you lose a life, making this mode a true, extremely hard mode to complete, but nevertheless fun. The other upgrades consist of additional gun on your back, 2 front diagonal guns, 1 on the top and bottom of your craft, and then upgrade to your secondary fire mode, allowing it to fire for longer before having to recharge. The game is a real nostalgia trip for gamers who played the old school shoot-'em-ups back on older consoles or through the money-eating arcade machines. Aqua Kitty really hits that arcade itch. It is a really cute and quirky game, yet it's so simple and addictive all at once, even if it does all appear a bit silly, but when you think about it, weren't a lot of games back in the early 90s. The soundtrack is just as addictive as that of the gameplay, and you will quickly find yourself bobbing to it, and it truly reflects on, again, the old school shoot-'em-up games in many shapes and forms, adding to the nostalgic feeling even more. The game has a decent number of various enemies, each with their own characteristics and abilities, keeping the game fresh throughout the 25 levels of the campaign. The enemies range from basic one-shot enemies to explosive enemies to bigger, more dangerous and widespread shooting enemies that simply just make life harder and harder in true shoot-'em-up style. There is also an infinite level available for easy and normal modes where you literally fight a continuous onslaught of wave after wave of enemies in an attempt to get through as many waves as possible, and all upgrades achieved up to that point move into the infinite level. The game allows for up to 2 players to play at the same time, be it through sharing a keyboard or using compatible controllers, allowing for the player to play alongside friends, again another great feature of shoot-'em-up games, and one to send both of you and your friends back down memory lane of being kids playing old-fashioned games. One disappointing feature of this game, however, is the shortage of power-ups at the player's disposal, totaling only a mere 5. Leaving a feeling that there could have been more room for more impressive and fascinating forms of attacks which would lead to tactical planning, something I loved in old school shoot-'em-ups. Without it, it was pretty much no tactical properties in the game at all, and you can simply use what you are given, as opposed to using various different attacks to adapt to your current situation, like in games such as Team 17's Project X back in the 90s. Along with that, I find the controls on the keyboard a bit awkward at first, and they cannot be reconfigured, which may not suit all players. Along with that, the menus can be a bit confusing, as the menus controls marked for both the PC and Xbox controller. However, despite these two flaws, the game is nevertheless a simple yet effective and fun game that is sure to give any shoot 'em up gaming fan from the 90s a true nostalgic feeling, and having the ability to do so with your friends just makes it all the more fun. It's addictive, with plenty of enemies, decent but few upgrades, and an equally as addictive soundtrack. This game truly deserves an 8 out of 10. So what are you waiting for? Get on to GOG.com, where you can get this game for a reasonable price of $5.99 US, get some friends over, drink some beer, and shoot up them bad guys and stop them from taking your kitty miners. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Thank you, and have fun.